In my Godzilla series, I've done 2 origins of the King of the Monsters. From the Monsterverse origin through to the new origin we will get in the feature-length anime movie soon. I also touched briefly on the initial reasoning behind Godzilla's creation and the link to atrocities of war. Continuing in that vein, I wanted to talk about Shin Godzilla. A lot of people really did not like the new origin of Godzilla for the anime, which is fine, I get that. Though it's important to note Godzilla has had numerous origins over the years, and Shin Godzilla was no different. This specific version of Godzilla for the reboot series was introduced to us as stemming from some type of prehistoric marine animal. Radiation plays a part, as the creature is on the sea floor undisturbed by modern life. It accumulates radioactive waste, surrounding itself with it, and ultimately this would cause the creature to somehow evolve into a new superorganism. It became irradiated, mutating, and now given the ability to withstand the harsh radioactive substances, it then evolved. Though what we see during the film is several steps in the creature's evolution. These forms are not given specific names, merely numerical form titles. The interesting thing about this iteration of Godzilla is its 5th form. A very human-like creature is what it ultimately ended up as, which, if you didn't like the plant-based origin, I'd be keen to hear your thoughts on this origin and its 5th human form. To briefly run through its appearances in the movie, it appears first and foremost as simply a tail. That's all. We don't know what is attached to the tail, but its initial form is essentially just a long tail. Its second form is much more reminiscent of an eel than anything else, with a long body, neck and a tail. Though it did have some very new and immature stubby hind legs, this being for some limited land-based movement, whilst also having stumps on its chest that later we learn would develop into Godzilla's arms. The third form of Shin Godzilla is something that looks much more like the traditional visage we all know, though still somewhat undeveloped of course. The 4th form of Godzilla would be considered the King of the Monsters, or closest we would get to it anyway. Fully bipedal, dorsal spines much like other incarnations, but it did have a strange glowing hue on its neck, back and arms, which gave it an almost volcanic-like appearance. Interestingly, this form has no cheeks or lips, its jaw is probably the most aggressive we would have seen a Godzilla to look like, and it also had a large nose and small white eyes. This 4th form had its customary atomic breath as well. Once defeated, Godzilla began to evolve once more. Humanoid-like creatures began protruding from its previous form's tail. Skeletal, no eyes, emaciated, with no musculature and a large hole in their chest. But from here, this is all we know of Shin Godzilla and its various forms. It's an interesting incarnation of the beast, that's for sure. I didn't want to go too in-depth today on this one because I feel it's an interesting watch, and if I disclosed too much it would rob you the enjoyment from the movie. But I also wanted to say enough to open the discussion on this origin, and ultimately its 5th form, the humanoid form. Do you believe that Godzilla's exposure to radiation essentially fast-tracked its evolution to what could potentially be the next dominant species on the planet, the humanoid Godzilla? It's an interesting debate and one I've been wanting to pose for a little while now. Also, what do you think would happen if they continue the story? Where do you go? A sci-fi style movie with these humanoids against mankind, or a horror, alien-like movie? Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comment section, and moving forwards for all your Godzilla and Kaiju content, stick with me, Mr. H. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay notified of all my future content. If you did enjoy this video then please consider leaving a like and sharing it, as it really does help this channel out. I've been Mr. H, and until next time, I'll catch you in the comment section.